Just over 18,000 miles off the coast of São Paulo, Brazil, in the midst of a vast stretch of open water, lies a small island almost erased from travel maps. Its official name is Ilha da Queimada Grande, but few ever call it that. People remember it by another name, Snake Island. The island is overrun by nearly 4,000 highly venomous snakes whose toxins can kill an adult in less than an hour. For years, countless local legends have told of the horrific deaths suffered by the unlucky souls who dared to step onto this deadly island. A place often described as the most dangerous location on the planet. From the mighty Iguazu Falls to Lençóis Maranhenses National Park, with its endless white sand dunes, Brazil is home to countless natural wonders. And Ilha da Queimada Grande, lying roughly 90 miles off the coast of São Paulo, at first glance appears to be one of them. Spanning more than 40 hectares, it is covered in lush green forest, broken by jagged cliffs plunging straight into the sea. From a distance, it looks no different from the hundreds of small islands scattered along Brazil's coastline, beautiful, tropical, and untouched. Yet as one draws nearer, that beauty slowly fades. On February 3rd, 2019, a tropical storm suddenly formed off São Paulo's coast, gathering strength before sweeping across southern Brazilian waters. Amid the chaos, a small fishing boat carrying 6 men was battered by waves and drifted dangerously close to Ilha da Queimada Grande, the island locals know by a chilling name, Snake Island. As their boat began to sink, they knew exactly where they were drifting. Anyone raised along these shores has heard the stories of Snake Island, a place forbidden to all, where a single misstep can cost a life. In desperation, amid fierce winds and pounding waves, 4 of them chose to swim for shore. The remaining 2, exhausted, stayed with the boat and accepted their fate. The 4 survivors washed onto a narrow strip of sand. Before them loomed a dense, silent forest where, just a few steps in, hundreds of venomous snakes lay hidden beneath rotting leaves. They dared not enter. For 3 days, the group remained on the edge of the beach, drinking rainwater and eating a few fallen bananas at the forest's rim, hoping someone might pass by. On the 3rd day, a commercial vessel noticed a faint distress signal from the shore. The 4 were rescued, dehydrated, exhausted, but alive. It was one of the rare moments in modern history when humans stepped onto Snake Island and lived to tell the tale. The Brazilian government issued an absolute ban on landing here decades ago. No one, whether fishermen, tourists, or explorers, may set foot on the island without special authorization from the Navy and the National Conservation Authority. The reason is simple and terrifying. Ilha da Queimada Grande has the highest concentration of venomous snakes on Earth. According to the Butantan Institute in São Paulo, on every square meter of the island there are an estimated 1 to 5 snakes, meaning if you stand still in one spot, a few steps in any direction almost guarantees an encounter. The island once carried the name Burned Island because fishermen tried to claim the shoreline by burning the forest and driving wildlife deeper inland. But the presence of countless venomous snakes ensured it became far better known by another name, Snake Island. The island contains many types of vegetation and its terrain is equally diverse. Its climate is very mild, no different from the nearby island of Nimer. According to researchers, 62 acres of the island are covered in tropical rainforest, while the remaining areas are barren rock and open grassland. This imbalance comes from human deforestation in the past. People tell of an unlucky fisherman who once landed on the island to look for bananas, but days later he was found dead in his boat, lying in a pool of blood, his body covered in snake bites. From 1909 to the 1920s, a few people lived on the island as lighthouse keepers. However, the first keepers recorded countless incidents of snakes crawling into their homes, climbing onto the roof and slipping through windows. The most horrifying tale is that of the final lighthouse keeper and his entire family who died tragically after a swarm of snakes entered their home through a window during the night. After a few years, the lighthouse was automated, and since then, no one has dared to live there again. Some believe the snakes were brought by pirates to guard their hidden treasure. But scientific truth is entirely different. The dense snake population is the result of thousands of years of natural evolution, untouched by human hands. So what turned this island into a paradise for snakes, and how did nature create one of the harshest environments on the planet? To understand why Ilha da Queimada Grande became home to thousands of venomous snakes, we must first look back at the geological history of the region. Thousands of years ago, the southern coast of Brazil did not look as it does today. When sea levels rose at the end of the Ice Age, many coastal strips were submerged. Some rocky mountain peaks remained above water, becoming small isolated islands. Ilha da Queimada Grande was one of them. This isolation completely changed its biological destiny. Once the land bridge disappeared, the animals trapped on the island were forced to adapt on their own. With no predators and no large competitors, a closed ecosystem began to form. And here, the jararaca snake, a species related to the Golden Lancehead, evolved along its own path and gradually became the sole dominant creature on the island. Completely cut off, the snakes had no natural enemies on land, so their numbers grew rapidly. But at the same time, they had no ground-dwelling prey to hunt. To survive, these snakes changed their behavior, climbing into trees to hunt migratory birds that stopped on the island to rest during long flights. For centuries, Ilha da Queimada Grande had no human presence. Dense rainforest, humid climate, and treacherous terrain made the island nearly impossible to exploit. Everything unfolded in silence until the late 19th century, when the Brazilian Navy needed to build a lighthouse to guide ships through the region. From that point on, the island appeared in administrative reports and naval maps, though early records said little about snakes. Only after several lighthouse keepers suffered accidents, went missing, or died from snake bites did authorities realize the island was far more dangerous than expected. Once the lighthouse was automated, Ilha da Queimada Grande returned to its original stillness, and thousands of snakes continued to multiply unchecked. For decades, coastal residents believed the island was cursed. Some claimed it had been a secret military testing ground and the snakes were abandoned experiments. Of course, no evidence supports any of these ideas, but such stories made the island's reputation even more terrifying. In reality, there is no curse. Everything is the natural result of evolution. When marooned between ocean waters, the snake populations once living along the mainland coast became isolated from their parent species. With no large prey, they had to adapt to the only available food: migratory birds. Flocks often rested on the island during their long journeys across the Atlantic. To survive, the snakes had to strike faster than the birds could escape. To do so, their venom needed to act more rapidly and more powerfully. Over thousands of years, that trait was selected and reinforced through countless generations. The result was an entirely new species, the Golden Lancehead viper, whose venom is 3 to 5 times stronger than its mainland relatives. Their venom is considered one of the most potent toxins in the reptile world, capable of dissolving cells, destroying tissue, and causing multi-organ failure in a very short time. A single bite, without immediate medical treatment, can take a life within minutes. If Snake Island were a kingdom, the Golden Lancehead would be its supreme ruler. The Golden Lancehead is a strange-looking species, almost deceptive enough to soften one's initial fear. This reptile grows to an average total length of about 27 inches and can reach more than 46 inches at maximum. Its body is pale yellow-brown, marked with a series of light triangular or quadrangular blotches along its back, narrow or wide, separate or merged into a single stripe depending on the individual. The head bears 2 distinct stripes behind the eyes. Its belly is pale cream or soft yellow. That coloration is not only beautiful, but also a perfect camouflage, allowing it to vanish among the dry leaves and moss-covered rocks across the island. This gentle appearance has misled many, even seasoned researchers, into underestimating its danger. Beneath that golden sheen lies one of the most venomous snakes on the planet. The venom of the Golden Lancehead is rated at 3 to 5 times the potency of its closest mainland relative, the Bothrops jararaca. Their venom is evolved for hunting, not defense. Just a tiny amount, only a few milligrams, is enough to kill an adult in less than an hour. Studies at the Butantan Institute describe the venom's mechanism as a near cascade of destruction. Once inside the body, it tears apart blood vessels from within, causing internal bleeding, clotting failure, and rapid tissue necrosis. The skin darkens, muscles contract, and internal organs begin to shut down one by one. It is a death that is both swift and agonizing. But what makes the Golden Lancehead a biological marvel is not only its venom's power, but its hunting strategy. On the island, with almost no small mammals present, their primary prey is migratory birds, creatures fast, alert, and stopping only briefly. To catch them, the Golden Lancehead evolved an extraordinary adaptation. Its venom contains enzymes that paralyze prey almost instantly, not after minutes like typical snakes. This venom not only dispatches the victim with remarkable speed, but also allows the viper to swallow it with ease. One precise strike, and the bird drops to the forest floor. Venom, isolation, and overwhelming numbers have turned Ilha da Queimada Grande into one of the most frightening graveyards on Earth. Ironically, while Brazilians see the Golden Lancehead as a symbol of terror, scientists regard it as a genetic treasure. Within its deadly venom, researchers have discovered molecules capable of dilating blood vessels and lowering blood pressure, offering potential breakthroughs for treating heart disease and stroke. What was once nature's instrument of death may become a source of hope for modern medicine. But studying the Golden Lancehead is far from easy. Snake Island lies roughly 22 miles offshore, with no shelter, no electricity, and an extremely humid climate. Research teams allowed to land must hold special government permits and always travel with medical staff carrying anti-venom. Every step on the island is a gamble with death, since each square meter may hide up to 5 snakes lurking in leaves or rocky crevices. Because of this extreme danger, the Brazilian government strictly controls every visit to Ilha da Queimada Grande. In truth, even without the government ban, the island would never be a tourist destination. The sheer density of snakes is enough to chill anyone's imagination. Besides the Golden Lancehead, this deadly island is home to roughly 400,000 other snakes, all classified as venomous or highly venomous. Among them, the most notable is the Bothrops jararaca, the Golden Lancehead's closest mainland relative and believed to be its direct ancestor. The jararaca once lived across the island thousands of years ago, but most were pushed out of the ecosystem by the Golden Lancehead's superior adaptations. The few survivors now inhabit the lower rocky edges near the shore. Though their venom is less potent than that of the Golden Lancehead, it is still lethal without timely treatment. Scientists believe that the presence of 2 species in such a narrow habitat triggered an intense evolutionary race, one that the Golden Lancehead ultimately won. Aside from these 2 snakes, the island also shelters a collection of small but uniquely dangerous creatures, most notably the Queimada Island cockroach, a native species found almost nowhere else. At first glance, cockroaches may seem harmless, but on this island, they play an ecologically crucial and rather horrifying role. The cockroaches on Queimada Grande are unusually large, living mainly in humid crevices and the bases of trees. They are not venomous, but they feed on the carcasses of animals killed by the snakes, helping clean the environment and preventing the spread of disease. However, because they feed on dead snakes, the island's cockroaches have become carriers of dangerous bacteria, including strains capable of causing sepsis in humans. Some scientists have described them as the ruthless cleaners of Snake Island. Just a few hours after a bird or snake is killed, hundreds of cockroaches swarm in and strip the corpse down to bare bone in a single night. In this ecosystem, nothing is allowed to decay slowly. Everything is recycled almost instantly. Aside from snakes and cockroaches, the island is home to a small number of spiders, tiny frogs, and lizards, which live hidden in the low forest, feeding mainly on insects or bird eggs. But due to the overwhelming density of snakes, most of these creatures live in extreme concealment, active mostly at night and avoiding the damp areas where snakes appear most frequently. Ecologists refer to this as an extreme closed island model, where so few species exist that each individual organism plays a vital role in maintaining balance. There are no large mammals, no humans, and almost no herbivores. On Queimada Grande, life survives only by learning to avoid death. There is also a fascinating detail that few people know. Brazilian research teams once set traps to monitor insects on the island and discovered a rare parasitic mite that lives embedded in the snake's skin, feeding on their blood. This mite is considered a specialized parasite, meaning it only exists alongside the Golden Lancehead and would disappear if the snake species went extinct. Thus, although the snakes are the most terrifying creatures here, they are also the structural foundation of the entire ecosystem. Every insect, spider, frog, and cockroach on the island exists either to feed on the prey killed by the snakes or to avoid being killed by them. Without the Golden Lancehead, the island would lose its natural regeneration cycle, and the entire ecosystem would collapse. While the outside world sees Queimada Grande as a symbol of fear, biologists view it as a perfectly tuned survival model, where every creature, whether tiny or terrifying, holds an irreplaceable position. Yet despite their danger, Golden Lanceheads are extremely isolated and vulnerable. They exist only on this single island, spanning just 43 hectares. Climate change, ocean storms, and illegal poaching have pushed the species into critical endangerment. The population is increasingly threatened by disease and genetic deformities caused by inbreeding. According to the IUCN Red List, the Golden Lancehead viper is critically endangered due to its low overall numbers, and it is officially listed as a threatened species in Brazil. Many scientists consider Ilha da Queimada Grande a vivid example of the power of natural selection. In isolation, only the individuals best adapted can survive, and just a small environmental change can push an entire species to evolve in a completely new direction. But the price of such evolution is an extremely fragile ecosystem. With no large prey animals, the snakes depend almost entirely on migratory birds. If those bird populations ever change their flight routes, the island's ecosystem would collapse immediately. This is why researchers view Ilha da Queimada Grande as a natural laboratory, where every biological rule reveals itself clearly, brutally, and without human interference. Each year, only a very small number of research teams are granted special permission to set foot on the island. They bring protective gear, anti-venom, and even their own water supply, since there are no streams or usable fresh water sources on the island. Their work typically lasts no more than a few days. They collect biological samples, record climate data, and monitor the condition of the Golden Lancehead population. Results show that the number of snakes on the island ranges from 2,000 to 4,000 individuals, varying by season. That number may terrify outsiders, but to scientists, it's a reassuring sign of stability, evidence that this closed ecosystem still maintains its delicate balance. Yet beyond the scientific viewpoint, Ilha da Queimada Grande has always carried an air of mystery. Some people say every island has a soul, and the soul of Queimada Grande is solitude, a place where nature isolates itself from humankind. The existence of this island raises a larger question. Should humans really try to reach and understand everything they can? Brazil's Snake Island is a stark reminder that sometimes the wisest thing humans can do is respect the boundary of nature. And that is the island's true curse. Not from pirates or gods, but from nature itself warning us to stay away. A tiny patch of land, yet terrifying enough to make the whole world cautious. However, its danger also makes the snakes here highly valuable on the black market. Wildlife traffickers, often called biopirates, secretly land on the island, capture snakes, and sell them to private laboratories or collectors. The price for a single golden lancehead can reach up to $30,000. This illegal hunting, combined with environmental damage, has caused the species' population to drop nearly by half in just 15 years. What do you think about the terrifying nature of this island? If you accidentally ended up there, what would you do? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming content. Goodbye, and see you next time.